I'll start this off with a simple statement that my GPA can attest to. One of the few things I know in life is that I don't know very much at all. I guess I'm like a lot of kids in their 20s, unsure of some of the most basic things about my life. What it is that I want to do, don't want to do, should be doing, shouldn't be doing. I guess there are a few things I'm sure of. I'm sure that Tom Brady will win a Super Bowl tomorrow. I'm sure that my roommate steals my food. And I'm sure that I was lied to on my tour about how cold it gets in Canton, New York during February. But other than that, I'm not really sure about much. 2 years ago, one of the things that defined my life up until that point came to an end. One of the things that I thought I knew unquestioningly, I began to question. And I've spent my time since then fundamentally changing the way I think about myself and how it is I want to spend my time. I remember the day I knew I wanted to play lacrosse. I was in the second grade. My sisters and I piled into the back of our mom's station wagon driving home from a doctor's appointment. We stopped into a sporting goods store so that my sister could buy a new pair of sneakers. While she tried on shoes, I wandered the aisles, and I came across a mannequin who looked more like a robot, decked out in full lacrosse equipment, poised ferociously with a lacrosse stick jutted out like a spear. I ran and grabbed my mom, begging her to buy me the cool-looking equipment, telling her how badly I wanted to play like I had seen the high schoolers play at my dad's prep school alumni day. But she dragged me out of the store and told me that I would have to wait a year until I was old enough to play in our town's youth lacrosse program. But, like most little kids, I was persistent. And eventually my parents did buy me a lacrosse stick and pads and a helmet. I would spend every day bouncing the lacrosse ball to myself off the concrete wall in our garage or shooting on the orange goal in the yard that I'd gotten for my birthday. Eventually, rec lacrosse turned into club lacrosse, and by the time I was in middle school, I was traveling up and down the East Coast to play in tournaments in Long Island and Baltimore and Pennsylvania. I loved every second of it. My life was playing lacrosse and waiting to play lacrosse. At night, I thought about the next time I would have the opportunity to run down a field and fire a shot past a goalie. And at night, I dreamt about the perfect 4-on-3 fast break materializing with me scoring a last-second goal to win a national championship for Duke. All through middle school and high school, I knew that I loved lacrosse, and I knew that unquestioningly. Sure, I would get frustrated by a bad practice or game, but my passion was genuine. I was lucky enough to enter high school, often a time of transition and uncertainty for kids, with something that I was good at and passionate about, and maybe I could even get a real opportunity from it down the line. My parents were supportive. I had a healthy outlet, and they were glad to see that I was doing something I loved, and maybe even one day it could help me get into a great college. By the time I was a junior in high school, it appeared that my dreams of college lacrosse were coming to fruition. The previous year, I had transferred to a boarding school in Connecticut that not only offered a great academic opportunity, but had the added benefit of allowing me to play some of the most competitive high school lacrosse in the country. In October of that year, I verbally committed to play Division I lacrosse at a liberal arts school in Pennsylvania. It was years of hard work finally paying off. In just 2 short years, I'd graduate high school, and I'd have the opportunity to play with and against the teams I'd always dreamed of: Army, Navy, UNC, Colgate. I had everything I thought I wanted: great friends, great family, a great future academically and athletically. But a few months after making that decision, I began to wonder. I was already spending so much of my time playing lacrosse or training to play lacrosse that I began to worry that I'd made the wrong decision to play at the Division I level in college. If I could barely balance the athletic, academic, and social demands of high school, how would I pull off the more intense routine of a college athlete? I was scared to tell my parents and wondered if they would be upset with me for having focused on one goal for so long, only to achieve it and then change my mind for little reason. But they were supportive. They encouraged me to do what felt right and to find a school where I'd be happiest regardless of lacrosse. I called my would-be college coach and told him I wasn't coming. That experience was my first inkling of just how important self-truth is. I knew what I wanted, I knew what my truth was, but I was allowing my fear of what others would say about it to dictate my reality and my future. Eventually, I found SLU, a respected Division III lacrosse program that would offer me a better balance between lacrosse and life. I was excited to have the opportunity to pursue my passions for athletics while trying things I never had done before. I arrived at St. Lawrence with a knee still injured from high school lacrosse, meaning I would miss my first fall of college athletics. It took a toll on me to watch my teammates work out while I rehabbed my knee and having to ride the stationary bike while they practiced, but I felt a renewed energy towards playing after the new year. Unfortunately, after just 2 practices that spring, I tore my PCL again, meaning that I would be sidelined for the rest of the season. I was devastated. I so badly wanted to realize the dreams of my childhood, to step onto a field and be a college lacrosse player. But that season was an amazing experience. Our team reached the Final Four, losing in the national semifinal and making it farther into the NCAA tournament than any St. Lawrence lacrosse team in history. I was excited and optimistic about my prospects of making an impact on the field for sophomore year. Unfortunately, I once again got injured that summer, breaking my ankle working out. It would be another 6 months until I could return to athletics. I'd spent the last year on and off crutches, in and out of MRI machines and doctor's appointments. I was done. I knew I was done. I had been for a while, but at this point there was just no getting around it. There's a phenomenon known as burnout, in which athletes lose their passion for their sport in what would have been the prime of their career. To prevent burnout, all youth athletes are cautioned against playing too much too early, against choosing a single sport and pursuing only that at a young age. I never listened to this advice. I thought that I would be different, that I would never stop breathing and living for lacrosse. But I wasn't different. I did burn out. Lacrosse became work. It was boring and tiresome, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I had no desire to go shoot lacrosse balls with friends. I stopped watching every game I could find online. I ignored emails from my coaches all summer, unable to tell them the truth that I needed to. I was terrified of what them and other people would think of me when they knew my decision to quit lacrosse. They called me a quitter, lazy, a bum. Eventually, I worked up the nerve and sent a quick note to them saying that I wasn't planning on playing with the team that spring and that I was done with lacrosse. They told me to come talk to them when I got back to campus. I didn't, and I regret that. I was paralyzed in the face of my fear of even saying aloud what my truth had become. I didn't want to quit lacrosse in a lot of ways. I loved my teammates, my coaches, the camaraderie and experience of working towards a common goal. But if I had continued to do something that I was apathetic of and resentful towards, it wouldn't have been fair to anyone, especially myself. In life, we are often faced with tough decisions. And all too often, as the old saying goes, the tough decision to make is the right one. It was an incredibly hard decision to quit lacrosse, to look at the years of hard work that I'd put in and seemingly abandon it. But it was what I needed to do. It's too easy to remain content in imperfect situations, to never question things. If I didn't quit lacrosse, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. I wouldn't write for the school newspaper, and I wouldn't have found my new passion, fly fishing. I encourage you all to take an honest, critical assessment of what you do with your days and wonder if you do them out of habit and comfort or fear of what other people might think if you stopped, or if you do them because you genuinely love it and it gets you excited about life. I encourage you all to be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Thank you.